Hello everyone and welcome to the SPED-ucation podcast episode 1. Today we will be discussing parents and their roles in individualized education plan meetings and how they can become more involved in their child's education. We will touch on the educator's responsibility to families in inclusive classrooms and how a positive relationship with parents can affect the IEP team. Before we get into the IEP meetings, we first have to understand the history behind the Individualized with Disabilities Education Act and how it affects parents. The IDEA Act is a federal law that was created as a guide for school systems throughout the United States on how to provide free and appropriate public education that is designed to meet a student with disabilities' particular needs. The Act notes that an individual education plan must be provided for each child with a disability, so long as they are eligible for special education and related services. These related services can include assistive technology, speech-language therapy, behavioral counseling, and even physical therapy. All of these services and benefits are already applied for students and their families to use and should be clearly identified within the student's individual education plan. So what does an IEP mean for parents? What is their role in the IEP? And what can parents do to help ensure appropriate services are provided for their child? The IDEA Act empowers parents to play a critical role in their child's education. Parents have the right to participate, consent, refuse, and do so much more in the IEP process. This is because parents must be given opportunities to participate in any discussion making regarding their child's special education program. This means that as a parent, you have the right to voice your thoughts and opinions in the IEP process as an equal member of the team. After all, an IEP meeting is intended as a collaborative discussion amongst the education team, where weaknesses, strengths, and goals are identified for their child's educational benefit. For parents, it is often the case that they feel that they do not know where to begin with an IEP process or if their opinion is truly heard. An independent research study by Kelly A. Sanderson and Samantha E. Goldman found that often the IEP is prepared by the special education team ahead of time without input or engagement and presented to parents during the IEP meeting. This leaves parents feeling like unequal partners in the IEP development process. Many parents are often dissatisfied with their IEP experiences and described that meetings are typically heavily focused on child efficacy instead of strength. This tends to lead to a large disconnect between the school and families, which generally opposes the intent of the IEP meeting. Parents are the main key holders in their child's education and are ones who are the most similar with the child's educational needs and should be treated as valuable members to the IEP team. Parent engagement requires relationship building and an understanding of experiences and culture on the part of both parents and teachers. Because of this, educators should take the time to understand the parents' needs and wants for their child's education and should incorporate their thoughts and opinions into the IEP document. Educators should also take the opportunity to collaborate with the students' families and provide opportunities for meaningful engagement throughout different goal-directed activities and meetings. For parents, involvement can include community-based events like potlucks or community fairs, and where families can speak with the community and educators and share their thoughts and feelings. By attending the different community events, PTA and PTO meetings are able to help foster a positive relationship with the educational staff to promote growth in the IEP process for their child. It is important that the goals and perspectives amongst the parents and educators align throughout the IEP process Such as in the case of inclusion, parents do not universally have the same view on inclusive education as educators. There are often sometimes where educators can look to have students with disabilities in separate classrooms. This is not always a best practice or what the parents want, since removing a child from an inclusive setting can alter their social emotional learning. A study by Catherine Underwood found that parents are more concerned with the individual needs of their child when defining one place as the most appropriate setting. She found that inclusive practice improved social and academic and behavioral outcomes for students with disabilities. Because of this, educators should work to foster their relationship with the parents to understand what environment they want for their child. Educators should aim to create an inclusive classroom that fosters a culture of acceptance and understanding for all students with children with IEPs are able to develop social emotional skills that build positive relationships with peers and adults. As educators, a strong partnership with families is critical to ensure that students receive consistent support both inside and outside the classroom. This means that educators must be aware of both the technical and emotional needs of their parents, and students understanding parent satisfaction with their child's IEP document is critical to maintaining positive relationships between parents of students with disabilities and meeting students' needs. This often can be overlooked by educators because of the use of technical language and professional practices, but it's important that the goal of collaboration be maintained so that each student may succeed. So if you are a parent of a child with disabilities, be sure to be open with the IEP team and do not be afraid to voice your opinion on the IEP process. Your voice matters and you're in the driver's seat for your child's education.